In this video, I'm going to teach you the 3 signals that banks are looking at whenever you apply for business credit. Let's begin. All right. Now, when I say signals, family, I want to introduce a framework that I think will help you guys to better understand what lenders are looking at based on where you currently are in your personal credit journey and your business credit journey. And I call this the bank signal framework. There are typically 3 signals, or in layman's terms, 3 phases or stages that you may find yourself at. And if you are watching this video and you are interested in getting access to business funding, you by default fall in one of these 3 stages. So I'm going to explain what they are. So we have the bag signal stage, the mixed signal stage, and the strong signal stage. I'm going to help you guys understand what these stages are, what qualifies somebody to fall in each of these stages, and based on the stage that you are, what are the steps that you need to take from where you are to where I'm sure you want to be, which is getting access to the capital needed to grow your business. So let's break it down. We'll start off first with bad signal. Now, if you are in this stage of your personal credit and business credit journey, this more than likely means that you have no strategy and no clarity. Like, you are starting in the mud, right? You don't really have a clear reason for why you need funding. You know you want money, but you're not really sure, what you're going to use it for. And in your mind, or for most people's minds, if you're watching this, you fall in this bucket, you think that getting business credit is the win. It's not the tool to get the win, it's the win, right? You want to get these cards so you can tell everybody, hey, look, I got approved for 20,000. Because in your mind, you think the 20,000 is money. It's a tool to make money, but it's not the money. Now, for individuals that fall in this bucket, a big reason why you treat funding as a win and you don't really have a clear understanding of it is because for most individuals that are in that bad signal stage, they normally consume a lot of content online and get a very watered down social media-fied version of what it is into getting access to capital. For them, they want limits for status and not necessarily for outcomes, right? And they're applying to banks with no rhyme or reason just because they heard somebody talk about it on TikTok or Instagram, and they're sending in applications with a clear strategy that's going to actually get them approved. And as a result, banks are looking at individuals that fall into this bucket that as desperate, they're high risk and very low reward. And these are the individuals that are normally getting declined left and right because they're chasing capital before they have proper positioning, before they have clarity on the personal credit side and on the business credit side. Now, the second signal, or the second stage, is what we call mixed signal, to where you have some clarity and an incomplete strategy. So what do I mean by that? If you're in this stage of your personal and business credit journey, you have a business, right? You have some type of a business structure or entity that's set up, and you're making some kind of money, not too much, but also not too little as well. Maybe you're making anywhere between 2 to 5, maybe 5 to 6, 7,000 at max. And you understand that funding is not the win. You understand that funding is a tool to get you the win, but you yourself, similar to the bad signal individuals, you haven't fully defined what that looks like. Now, for individuals that fall in this stage, once again, you have your entity set up, you have some of the things around the entity to make it look like a verifiable and legitimate business. Your personal credit is solid. It's not great, it's solid. It could be better if you took 1 or 2 more actionable steps to really beef it up before you start applying for funding. And unfortunately, because you may not take those actionable steps to beef up your personal credit report, you end up moving too soon before your positioning on the personal credit side and on the business credit side is set and applying. And in turn, banks are interpreting that as they're looking at your overall situation. They're saying it's pretty much like a 50-50 shot where it's like, okay, maybe we work with them, maybe we don't, but we're not 100% convinced that, we want to throw money at this business. And typically what happens for you if you're at this stage is the good news is you're getting approved for business credit, which is awesome. The not so good news is you're not getting the limits that you want. You're getting anywhere between like 2 to 5K, 5 to 7K max limits, maybe a bit higher, but it really floats around that 5 to 7K range. It's taking you a lot longer to get approvals or just decisions on your applications because the banks have to look harder at what you have going on to determine where you fall in terms of how much money they want to give you, i.e. the term mixed signals, okay? And sometimes when you're applying for funding, there are times where lenders are going to ask you for extra verification. They may ask for you to provide documentation or just different things that'll help them to kind of clarify what's going on with your business and your personal credit structure, ultimately before they make a decision. So this stage of individual also finds themselves applying prematurely, not as prematurely as the bad signal individuals, but once again, you're maybe 1 or 2 moves away from being in a prime position to where you actually go out and get access to the capital that you're looking for. Now, the final signal, which is the stage that everybody should, could, and would want to be at, is the strong signal, where you are in a situation where you not only have a clear strategy, but you also have clean positioning. Now, what does that look like? Well, that looks like, number one, you know exactly how much money you need and why. If you speak to somebody who's in a strong signal stage and they tell you 50,000, you ask them why, they're going to tell you, I need 50,000, 25 is going to go towards marketing, 10 is going to go towards operations, and the rest is going to go towards an emergency reserve. Boom, like that. This is somebody that has their business structure down to the T. Everything that a bank could ask of someone when it comes to making sure their business is properly set up, somebody who's a strong signal has it down pat. personal credit profile, there's not much more they can do for it. They've crossed every T and dotted every I, increased every limit to best of their ability, and their report is as strong can get. And most importantly, when they do apply, they're not going to banks just for the sake of going to certain banks. They have a strategy behind it. Their plan is strategic and not emotional. Moreover, they have a clear investment plan for the funding, like we talked about earlier. Their business positioning is set, and they know exactly where they're going, who they're going to work with, and why. And when banks look at people who are in the strong signal section, they look at them as having very predictable behavior. They're very low risk, and they have high upside. And in turn, with these individuals, they get approved faster. They get higher limits and stronger terms. And the limits they're getting are usually around that 20 to 25K range. So for them, it's not a matter of if they're going to get approved. It's always, okay, how much money? The bank is literally just asking themselves, how much are we going to give Mr. Johnson, right? Saying that that's an example of somebody who's there. So to figure out which of these three buckets that you fall into, it's very simple. You know that you're a bad signal. You're saying you want 25, 50, 100K, and you can't explain why it is that you want that funding for. You're in the bad signal stage. If you've applied to multiple banks with no rhyme or reason, without a strategy, you probably fall in the stage. If you're chasing funding because you see other people doing it online and you're not really sure why it is that you need it, or you getting approved for a certain amount as a win and not as a tool to actually go out and make money, or you feel this incessant need to apply, even though you don't really have a strategy in place, you most likely fall in the bad signal stage. And I'm going to tell you how to get out of it. There's no harm, no foul in being there. I'm going to tell you how to get out of it. You're in the mixed signal stage. If you have a business and you have a traction and you understand that funding is a tool, but similar to the bad signal, you don't really have a plan in place, right? Your business exists, but parts of it aren't fully consistent across the board. Your personal credit is all right, but it's not really where it needs to be. And you've been approved, but you keep getting approved for smaller limits. And you know you're in a strong signal if you know exactly how much you need and why. Your business is legit, structured, and positioned from top to bottom. Your personal credit profile is clean and maintained well. And once again, you are applying with strategy. And I want you guys to let me know in the comment section of this video and be brutally honest with yourself which signal you fall under, because that's going to help to guide me for future videos that I make to provide value to the individuals that I see, commenting the most. If I know most of you guys fall in the mixed signal stage, that may affect the kind of content I put forward. Most of you guys are in the bad signal stage, that'll also affect it. Good signal, you get my point. Once again, there's no reason for you to feel bad about where you are. I want to give you all a roadmap to success regardless of whatever signal you fall into. So if you're a bad signal, once again, you're being denied right now. It's important that you know the reason that you're being denied is because you look very risky and very unprepared. So your job at this stage, if you want to move from this stage up, is you have to get clarity and you also have to get readiness before you actually get approved for the capital, which means that you have to get very clear about the amount of money you need and why you need the money. You have to get a stable foundation on the personal credit and when it comes to your business. You have to stop applying for every bank under the sun and get very clear about which banks make the sense for you to apply for. And for you, the fastest path to success is not you submitting another business credit application, getting another inquiry on top of the 30, 40, 50 you have on your report. It's about assessing your situation and filling in the gaps that are keeping you from moving forward. Now, if you're a mixed signal, you're close, but you're not all the way there yet because once again, you're not getting high limit approvals. So you have to tighten and fine tune and improve what's already there. You have to make sure that your personal credit is as strong as it needs to be. You have to make sure that your sequence is down pat. You're essentially almost like double checking and going back and making small improvements on what a foundation you've already laid. With your business structure, maybe it's there, but it's not truly all the way there. With your funding plan, you have some direction, but there's still some gaps that you could potentially fill in, right? Which where your business is making a little bit of money and you're not starting from ground zero, but at least you have something. Now, if you're a strong signal, being in this signal means that, your job at this point is strategy, it's sequence, and it's protecting your credit report. You're choosing the right lane in terms of the lane of the lenders that you want to work with based on your goals and your strategy, not on ego. You're creating sequences that help you maximize approvals and minimize the inquiries that you're getting. And you're thinking long-term beyond just the credit card of like, okay, are these lenders that I'm working with lenders I actually want to build with long-term, or are they just ones that I'm trying to get quick wins with? And then kind of building from there. So for you three here, this is pretty much your roadmap for success. Once again, if you're in the bad signal stage, you want to focus on gaining clarity and readiness before you get access to capital. If you're in the mixed signal stage, you want to focus on tightening things up with your personal credit and your business structure before you apply. And if you're on the strong signal stage, the name of the game for you is strategy and sequence, getting super clear on leveraging all the hard work you've done to get out of the bad signal stage and the mixed signal stage to now leverage you being in the strong signal stage to get approvals for the lines of credit that you and your business need. But as always, family, that's all for this video. And if you've received value from this video and you want help building your personal credit profile, structuring your business correctly, and most importantly, creating a funding strategy that actually gets you approved for high limits, I'm going to leave a link in the description below to my mentorship program, Takeoff University. Once again, the link for that is going to be in the description below, where you can work with me and a team of other individuals that's going to help you get to the other side of success in your personal credit and business credit journey. And we're extremely excited to see you there. But family, once again, I hope you all receive value from this video. And until next time, peace.